Welcome back to my second All-Star Weekend video. And in this one, as explained in the other video, we'll be going over every single Team Giannis players and see who were drafted right before them and comparing their careers to see how bad the prior selection was. Now for the team captain of Team Giannis, Giannis himself. He was drafted 15th overall in 2013, right after Shabazz Mohammed. He's been out since 2018 or 2019 probably. He only played 5 seasons in the NBA, while only playing over 45 games twice in his career. He was drafted somewhat early because he was ranked the number 1 player out of high school, and he averaged decent stats in college. But in the NBA, he only had a career average of 9 points, 2.8 rebounds, 0.5 assists. Meanwhile, for Giannis, as we all know, he's a Finals MVP, back-to-back regular season MVP. He's won Defensive Player of the Year. He's won Most Improved. He's on the 75th anniversary team. And the accolades will keep coming in as his career progresses. So it's safe to say that Shabazz sadly wasn't the proper pick to make at 14. In 2017, Jason Tatum was drafted 3rd, right after Lonzo Ball. Despite the expectations people had on Lonzo Ball, he has not lived up to them so far in his career. He was only averaging 12 points a night, 5.7 rebounds, 6.2 assists, and 1.6 steals, which is pretty decent for a rotational point guard. But since they spent the 2nd overall pick on him, the player right after already has a couple All-Star games in his career and is in MVP contention this year, while also leading his team to the NBA Finals last season. It's safe to say that the Lakers possibly regret their pick, but most importantly, it's safe to say that the 76ers, who traded up for Markelle Fultz, are regretting not taking Jason Tatum with their pick. Donovan Mitchell was drafted 13th in the 2017 NBA draft, right after Luke Kennard was drafted. So far, Luke Kennard is known as one of the most efficient shooter in the league, and he has been playing his role of spreading the floor to a elite rate, but other than that, he's not really impactful on the court. He's often the target of pick and rolls in order to have him guard the best player on the opposing team because they know he cannot guard them. Meanwhile, Donovan Mitchell has established himself as probably the best shooting guard in the NBA after showing he was one of the best players in his draft class in his rookie year and the year after. He's been a star since his 2nd year in the NBA, and this was all shown when he dropped 71 points against the Bulls, making this performance one of the best games for a single player in NBA history, because he also had a lot of rebounds and assists on the score sheet. In 2007, Kevin Durant was drafted after one of the players that is considered one of the biggest busts in NBA history, and that player sadly was Greg Oden. Due to injuries, he was never able to play the way he was expected to. In his first 2 seasons, he only played a combined 82 games before missing the next 3 seasons completely. So he ended his career only averaging 8 points, 6.2 rebounds. KD so far in his career is averaging 27.3 points a night, 7.1 rebounds, 4.3 assists. And if we wanted to give Greg Oden a better chance and compare to his first 2 seasons before he got very injured, Greg Oden only averages 9.4 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 1.4 block. Meanwhile, KD for the same 2 years averaged 22.7 points a night, 5.6 boards, 2.6 assists. It's not necessarily the best way to compare them because for those 2 years, KD played around 36.7 minutes a night. Meanwhile, Greg Oden barely played 22 minutes a night. So we would have to look at the per 36, but either way, KD would still dominate him. And in personal accolades, KD is definitely far above Greg Oden, being a 1-time MVP, an NBA champion, being Finals MVP, also being a part of the NBA 75th anniversary team, and many more. So the Rockets messed up on this one. Bam was drafted right after Donovan Mitchell, who is also an All-Star this season, and they have been key contributors to their teams ever since they got a significant role on their respective teams. So there's nothing much more to say other than both teams probably pick right and didn't make a mistake. Quick PSA, this video is recorded a week and a half before the All-Star game actually happens. I want the video to be out probably right between the draft and the game, depending on when the draft ends, or after the game. So I won't take into consideration the players that are injured. So I'll be going over KD. Probably, as of right now, Jaylen Brown just got hurt yesterday. So I don't know if he'll be at the All-Star game or not. But I won't go over the replacement players. While editing the video, I made the realization that since the draft happens right before the game, The replacement players have already been named, so the injured players that have been replaced, such as KD, were not drafted, so I will try to match a replacement player with an injured player and figure out under what team he should go, but it's not necessarily 100% accurate. The next All-Star player was drafted 17th overall, right after James Johnson, and this guy is Drew Holiday. Both of them have had long careers in the NBA, but Drew has made a more significant impact on every team he has been. James Johnson has been playing a veteran role model in the last couple of years for the teams he's been, but he still had a great career all around. On the other end, Drew Holiday is a two-time All-Star with career averages of 16.3 points, 4.1 rebound, and 6.4 assists, and he has been a key piece to the Bucks championship team. Sadly for this one, there's not much to say since Zion was drafted with the first overall pick right before Ja, and he has lived up to the hype so far, so good for him. On to the next one. For Ja Morant, he got drafted second right after Zion, so there's not much to talk on. Both of them were excellent picks as they are both in the All-Star game this season, and have shown since they started playing in their rookie years that they could be the future of the league, and they were some of the best players the league had, so I think that both of the teams made great decisions. The next All-Star is Damian Lillard, who was drafted 6th right after Thomas Robinson. For those who don't know, Thomas Robinson was a power forward that was drafted by the Kings. He last played in the 2016-2017 season and had career averages of 4.9 points and 4.8 rebounds, and he had only started about 3% of the game he's played in the NBA. Meanwhile, on the other end, Dame is a 7-time All-Star, a part of the NBA 75th anniversary team, and his worst statistical season, which was his rookie year, he put up numbers of 19 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 6 assists, which are definitely better than any season Thomas Robinson's ever had. Lauri Markkanen was drafted 7th right after Jonathan Isaac. Sadly, Isaac hasn't had the time to reach his full potential as he has missed over 2.5 seasons with an ACL injury. He was one of the rising stars when he was playing before his injury, but so far this season he's trying to get back, but doesn't seem to have a lot of playing time as he's barely averaging 10 minutes a night, and he's dropping 5.6 points in those minutes. Meanwhile, Markkanen has had pretty decent stats his first 5 years, but people still expected more from him, and he has been on his third team in 6 years as a top 10 pick, which kind of states that teams were not necessarily happy with the way he was playing for them. But this year he has blossomed in Utah and he has taken the league by surprise, which is great for him. Now I just hope that he can continue on that path and be a multiple-time All-Star in the future. Domantas Sabonis was drafted right after Thon Maker and has shown that he was the right pick rather than Thon. Thon has only played 8 games in the 2020-2021 season and hasn't been seen after that in the league. He has career averages of 4.6 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 0.6 assists. Meanwhile, Sabonis is still one of the most underappreciated big men in the league. He has shown this season and in the prior seasons that he is one of the best and he can compete with the best of them. He has been a 3-time All-Star. Since the 19-20 season, he's been averaging over 18 points a night and 12 rebounds per season. And this year, he's also dropping a career high in assists with 7 a night. The final All-Star for this video is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He was drafted right after Mikal Bridges, who is now the new Brooklyn Nets member. Mikal is known as a great 3-and-D player who was in Defensive Player of the Year contention last season. And this year, he's averaging around 17 points a night, 4.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. Meanwhile, Shai is in the conversation for MVP and could have been in Most Improved if we really wanted to. This season, he's averaging over 30 points a night and 4.5 rebounds and 4.5 assists. One crazy stat that I found while researching was that he was top 3 in value over replacement, which shows how impactful he is for his team. And if I had known the outcome before the draft on the type of player they would become, I probably would have ended up choosing Shai over Mikal. Of course, in the situation, they probably had Devin Booker at that time, I think so they might not have needed Shai, and the 3-and-D wing fitted their needs the most. But based on talent and skills and what they bring to the team, Shai should have been the pick. And that's it for today's video, guys. As always, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. You can also leave in the comments what are your thoughts on today's video. Does anything surprise you? Or you could also comment on what you thought of the All-Star Weekend. That being said, thanks for watching and have a great one.